Hello, I'm Stoican, and welcome back to the video. Today I actually wanted to do a repeat of an experiment I did over a year ago now, where I compared a Minecraft PC seed to a Minecraft console seed of the exact same name. So the results of this really interested me because I was expecting there to be some overlap between the two, but as it turns out they had absolutely nothing in common with each other. You spawn in entirely different areas, there was just nothing in common, and although there was a few tree placements that looked kind of similar, pretty much nothing else could link the two seeds. However, I figure now the console's had a big update that both adds all of the biomes from the PC and also just massively changed the world generation algorithm, made biomes smaller, did a few things like that. Why don't we do a recheck and see just how similar a Minecraft PC seed is to a Minecraft console seed? There's a lot of interesting stuff that we can find out from this, and I'm looking forward to doing it in today's video. So hopefully you do enjoy this too. If you do, like the video and let me know because it helps out the channel, and let's know you do like these sorts of videos where I compare the console and the PC in one particular aspect. And yeah, with the seed thing, so this is last week's Seed Sunday. It's a really cool seed that shows just how much you can pack into one 864 by 864 area. It's an amazingly dense seed in terms of the fact that it has so much in one area. So will we find that it's like this on the PC and it's an amazing PC seed, or will this be an average seed? That's something we're going to check out. But for now, let's just show you what we're going to find if we go diagonally from spawn. So if we expect to spawn in this kind of foresty area with a plains nearby, then we're going to go through a mesa, a pretty flat mesa with a giant thing near it. Then we should go through a mesa plateau biome with the bryce, the really cool things over here. Then we should go past a desert slash a plains. I mean, it kind of crosses over both, but let's say a desert. Then we should cross over a giant savanna mountain into another desert, into a desert village, and then just past that, also there should be a desert temple there, and just past that, we should hit an ocean. This is a really good test, a shallow ocean that is. This should be a really good test of exactly one, if we go over the same biomes, and two, how long it takes, because here, we can measure, it's just roughly across almost an entire map. Is it going to be like that on the PC or not? Let's go test that now. So just one more time, here's what it looks like from start to finish. So mesa, forest, mesa, desert, savanna, desert, and then ocean. That's what we're looking for. And also just, for second reference too, because that does show us a village, a temple, and a bunch of biomes. If we just go this way, we go for about 300, 400 blocks of a mesa biome, and then past that, there should be straight from the mesa, like literally visible from the mesa, into an ocean monument. Again, I want to see if the ocean monuments are extra special on console, because bear in mind, on PC, they're incredibly rare. You'd never find them if they're the same rarity. I'm curious as to whether they'll be in the same places and just really far apart, or if there just won't be one there at all. So, yeah, that's this seed on console. It's Ender Girls, and I recommend checking out Last Seed Sunday if you want to see more of the stuff. But now, let's go check it on the PC. So, of course, we are here now on the PC version of Minecraft. So, just in case you do not know, I know this is a very small minority of you, the PC version of Minecraft is developed by an entirely different team in an entirely different language at entirely different times for an entirely different world size. So, the PC world size, if you're curious, is 60 million by 60 million versus 864 by 864 on a last-gen console, which, as you can imagine, results in some pretty different things. But as I typed in the same seed and spawned in the roughly same place, you can see how this looks very much like the seed I was just on, but with a lot more space between stuff, and also with a slightly different spawn point. Because even though I recognize the mesa just next to spawn and the desert near that, if you look over here, this is the desert the forest I should have spawned in. As you can see, it kind of just condensed it, moved the plains somewhere else, and then kind of just spawned me there, which is really interesting because the spawn coordinates are suspiciously similar. They're not the same, they're not exactly the same by any means, but they are very, very similar, which makes me say then, so I guess, there's more similarities between the PC and the console than we think. It spawns you in the same, at least, corner of the map on this one particular seed, and also it spawns you in the same kind of area, just with a lot more space between stuff. Like, look at this, like, this forest is here, it's roughly the same size, and it's just, a few, a decent way of raping spawn. Also, the mesa biome seems to be quite a bit further away, and if we start going diagonally, so the correct direction to do the same test, we just go diagonally this way, we do end up at the same stuff, including what looks to be the Mesa Bryce slash Meta Plateau biome. So again, the cool thing about this is even though there's way more space to get there, like it's at the very edge of my render distance, even though there's way more space to get there, you can see the biome itself actually looks smaller, which is interesting. So even though, yeah, every other biome, like such as this mesa over here, which just look at the size of that mountain, even though if you look at every other biome, they seem to be massively larger. Certain biomes, like this one over here, seem to be particularly smaller on the PC. Even if the mountains themselves are slightly wider out, and these are all like the size of these ones on console, as opposed to the size of these ones. The actual size of the biome in general is slightly larger, which makes you think maybe it's like they fixed them to a certain size. But we'll see as we go further diagonally, because we head over the desert slash the plains. Not quite the same as it was on the console, and also with just this massive space in between that, again, just wasn't there. But yeah, again, there's this kind of nice division between the two. I think it's on the opposite sides, which is kind of interesting, and we should end up at, there's the desert temple. It might not be the exact same one, but I imagine it is actually. So, yeah, it looks like the desert temples don't follow the rules of, like, we're going to spread out in the same place. If I had to guess, they spawn at certain coordinates, and that's how they happen. And yeah, here's a desert entirely separated from the village it was next to on console, and before even the Savannah Mountains, or the mountainous savannas, which we'd come into before. So that is really, really interesting, if you ask me. The fact that, yeah, the desert temples don't kind of, like, even though a PC world is kind of like a stretched out console world, or you can say console world is like a packed in PC world, you can still see the desert temple seems to just, you know, exist kind of independently of that, and it also is still buried here, which is really, really cool if you ask me. Anyway, let's keep going diagonally and see what we run into. So here's the, you know, the Savannah Mountain, which seems to be wider again than on console, but in this case it's also a lot smaller. It's not a massive thing, it's just going up a few blocks, and then eventually we hit a village. I don't know if it's the village or if it's the one that was just next to it, but we'll assume for now that is just the previous village, because that seems to be the case. Even though it is going diagonally, that is one of the 3 villages that was on that sea before, and that means if we keep going diagonally this way, we might just run into another one, or maybe we run into the desert temple village combo, or maybe that is just the one village and it's in an entirely different place. Again, there's so many changes they had to make from the PC to the console. Oh, okay, no, here is the village in fact. There's so many changes they had to make from the PC to the console. There's stuff like this, obviously you can't just expect it to be in the perfectly same places, and you might even expect stuff like villages to just be entirely reworked. However, we're now here at the village, and again, interesting fact about the village, you saw at the start of the console version, there was a blacksmith on the console, not here on the PC, which is rather intriguing, even though this looks like the exact same village in every other aspect. So yeah, the villages, they exist in the same places, but they generate based on entirely different criteria, it seems, and yeah, that's kind of interesting. But if we keep going diagonally even further than this, we head into another savannah, one that didn't exist here on console, so we could be going past the edge of the world. Again, we can't really tell until we see the kind of oceany place, and then maybe we find the ocean eventually, or maybe this is just the end of the line. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay, and then finally, after all of this distance, so again, just for comparison, we headed about 600 blocks on console. On the PC, we've headed just under 1,200, let's say, plus some extra more. And then, what makes this even weirder is the fact that it's not actually a shallow... Oh, wait. Just to be entirely sure here, it looks like it's not actually a shallow ocean, and the ocean monument you can see makes it look like it's even less than that. So, just to be sure, good way to see underwater, drink a... okay, so, yeah, as you can see, it starts as a shallow ocean for the tiniest bit, roughly what it was in the console, and then past that, it goes into a deep ocean. So, given that this is the edge of what we reached on console, it takes double the distance, it has a lot more stuff, and then eventually ends up in an ocean monument too, which is really, really astounding to me. So, yeah, by itself, that's kind of interesting, but just to be fair, and to do a second test to see this isn't just one particular stretch of terrain on one thing, because it could have coincidentally happened that way, let's go back to the spawn. Good way to do it is to kill yourself, and then also let's set the time to day. Set time day. I'm really bad at commands. To like, can you just say day? You can't say. Okay, you gotta do time set and then like 1,000. Let's say. Yeah, so here we are at spawn again. Again, it's really interesting that that same thing had all the biomes there, just with some more stuff in between them, and just with certain tiny variations, and also with the desert temples not caring that the worlds have been kind of thinned out, stretched out, whatever. But if we go this way, so again, to the ocean monument eventually, as you can see, the mesa biome looks like it's maybe a similar distance. It could be a lot further for all I can care, but the actual, you know, mesa mountains themselves go for much further. And this is an interesting thing that actually, you know, you never really properly realize, but on PC, these are just an entirely separate biome, really, because if you just look at them, yeah, this, instead of just being lots of thin mountains, there is just this massive thing you could sail down on top of, and it really is like a, you know, instead of a mesa mountain, it's more of a mesa-like table, I guess you'd call it. And yeah, you head past that, and instead of going straight into an ocean, you actually head into a desert. Again, one that didn't probably seem to exist. You go past a really weirdly shaped river, or a couple of rivers I guess it is, because they don't connect properly, and then you head into more desert, and then into a savannah, it seems. Again, none of this was probably there on console. There should be a giant mountain, but I'm not seeing one of those. Some Mesa Bryce that didn't exist on the console over there. I think it's just another horn of Mesa over there, and it looks like eventually, if we keep on going this way, we might just head up into the same place, just with lots of stuff in between. So this is the closest ocean I could find in this direction. We had to go a little bit like that, but if you look over here, so take a night vision potion, we drink the night vision potion like this, then if you look over here, as you can see, there is no ocean monument in here. So, yeah, oh wait, unless we just keep heading this way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is no ocean monument to be found here. There's a lot more mesa, and I think this is just past the edge of the world borders, and that's about that. So, yeah, two very different results, actually, and two really entirely different sets of data, but just to be sure then, now we know this. So again, if you have seen the seed Sunday from last week, you'll know that if you head backwards from spawn, so again, just entirely different direction, you should see a roof forest over there, and eventually some swamp behind that. Let's see, and also this over here is the equivalent of that one mountain we saw on console. So if we see some swamp going this way, maybe we get some interesting stuff and a kind of perspective on how long it takes. But instead of getting swamp, it looks like we are just going to get a lot of, more roof forest, and then more mountain, and then more regular forest. So that's kind of that, I guess. So if I had to guess what's going on here, based on everything that we've seen here now then, so now we've got 3 entirely different sets of thing. It looks like the spawn is always going to be roughly the same. So maybe what the console does is it takes what would be a PC spawn. Again, this is for a classic size world. For a large size world, it does actually a lot more similar stuff. But yeah, if we take the kind of same comparison, we can say, okay, what the PC does is it takes the console, the spawn, and it's like, it takes the PC spawn, and it's like, okay, we'll try and compact some of that together, and then it tries to find as many biomes as it can, and maybe just skips biomes to get there, because the thing about a console world is if it did try to generate with just, the way it was on the PC, you might just get an entire world that was only desert, and that never happens. You always get at least a few other biomes, because, desert-only world will just kill you, and maybe what it does is it tries to take the PC world, and then just starts to remove stuff, change stuff, mix stuff around, and it does it in very interesting ways, such as entirely changing the looks of certain biomes, including making certain biomes which are really small but interesting, bigger in this one particular case, but then also compacting the world in a way that's almost 2-to-1 exactly. So, yeah, what is the difference between a Minecraft PC world and a Minecraft console world? Well, a Minecraft PC world seems to be much more spread apart. It seems to have less access to stuff like villages, even though the same number of villages were there, they happened in twice the space, and I bet there'd be certain villages that just didn't exist in that way, which is really, really interesting. And also, it just moves ocean monuments. So, yeah, I guess that's something they entirely coded separately for the console, and that's something I find very interesting personally. But, this is just me. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Minecraft PC seeds are cooler than console? Because, again, this really, it makes it, to some extent, you could argue, okay, how the PC has the large biomes option, console basically has small biomes option enabled, because this plains just doesn't really exist. It's straight from forest to, roof forest really. But then on the same level, some really cool biomes that you would find in the console don't exist here. On the same level, cool biomes that are bigger on console don't exist here. So it's small biomes, but then larger biomes in some cases. Very, very interesting results. I'm personally interested. I'd love to hear if any of you have any thoughts on this, because I think this is an interesting look into the fact that PC and console seem to be getting a lot closer based on the comparison from this to last year. And again, let me know if you want to see me do one where I compare a large world to a PC size world, or if you're done with the comparisons for now and you just want to, I don't know, chill and watch these Sunday later. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Besides that, I guess I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.